Welcome to Little Birdie TV. I'm your host, Scoot. I'm joined by Nick Tedeschi and Mike Dogga Caridi. Meow. How are you, boys?
Even better to see you like this. Even better to see you like this, Scoot. Xander hasn't done much in my life before, but I have chips in Xander right now.
Well, I'd just firstly like to say it's a lovely day for a saucer of milk. Oh, just how I like it, ice cold. And firstly, what a golfer Xander Schauffele is. What a credit to his family. He's a major winner. He's an Olympic gold medalist. And he's still not for me. But when you lose a bet, you got to pay up. So in full catsuit here, I've even got a bit of a tail. I feel like I'm in a UFC fight because it's a bit tight. And I feel like I'm going to get choked out here, UFC style, Islam Makhachev, and I feel like Dustin Poirier about to tap out here. But I'll persist with the show, and thank Christ it's a little bit fresh up at the Gold Coast because I'm sweating bullets underneath here. But well done, lads. You've got the perfect start to the first two majors. And Xander, I was earth riding or death riding that last putt. And I got a little bit of false hope too because it did half a lap, sort of popped up and then dropped in the hole. Down 18, so crikey, I nearly got him beat, and even sickening still. I could have greened up in play, but instead I had more on Viktor and more on Bryson. So it was a tough purchase trying to front up with another $90 for the catsuit after doing $1,000 on the golf that week. So full credit to you guys. You're the golf experts, and I'm the dill in the catsuit. Who wants to go first?
Oh, mate, I honestly, I had a proper fill-up. It was a very good week.
Fuck.
Obviously, I had him as my top pick for round one leader and overall winner. And honestly, the best part of that week was sending you a message 1 second after that final putt dropped saying, I can't wait to see you in a catsuit. That was literally all I was worried about.
It was one of the great results. This is really just the cherry on top. And you can credit Xander if like for well, sure you won a PGA Championship. What about Dogga and I actually finding Xander when he won something? We're the real heroes in this situation.
It's absolutely remarkable. But it was a hell of a tournament, and you guys threw everything at Scheffler. You even got him arrested. So. I'd like to throw a protest in, if anything. It's got a bit of an asterisk next to the win.
I agree with you. It was a rough week for Scottie Scheffler. Not that he's hard up for cash this week. Last weekend he literally broke the annual prize money total for any PGA Tour season ever. 24 mil he's banked this year. So I'm sure he's okay with another night in jail. I'm sure he'd happily take it.
What, 24 million? You think you're going to slip a copper a few bucks to get off the charge there straight on, wouldn't you? Come on, Scotty. Play this a bit more professional. Stop being such a straighty 180.
Gosh, and it was a frivolous arrest, so thank God it's got thrown out. Even Rory, he's up and about at the moment. He's spending more time in the commentary box, a little bit more vigour, a little bit more pizzang or pep in his step. Nick Tedeschi, Rory's back up and about.
Well, he's got a bit more time in his hands now, doesn't he? We're already going much happier step as he was. I was courageous enough to be on Xander last time. You're not going to find me courageous enough to have the shorts about Rory McIlroy.
Outstanding stuff. All right, let's get into serious business and let's try and find you guys a winner. And hopefully you've backed the first couple. And I've got my ears turned on because I haven't been listening enough and haven't had the fill up that Dogga and Mr. Tedeschi have definitely had. We're going to Pinehurst for the US Open this week. They're playing on the second course. Dogga, before we go have a look at the market, what can we expect with the course layout this week and a little bit of a weather watch too?
Yeah, look, it's a week where you're very, very much going to be concentrating on hitting really good irons. So I'm not looking for someone who's got, massive distance off the tee, which is probably a little bit unusual for a US Open or a PGA where you really want to see the long hitters. It's all about accuracy. I mean, the fairways sit at about 35 to 45 yards wide in the landing zone, so it's not wide. Get it in there first, and then the guys that turn up with their irons into greens is going to be key. The course is already baked out, and Wyndham Clark yesterday already said we're right on the brink, which I love because conveniently the weather is sitting at about 33 degrees every day with very little wind. It's going to be muggy. That part of the world gets a bit muggy this time of year. But I mean, it's not the sandbelt, but I expect it to be playing a little bit hard and fast. I know there's some videos shooting around this morning of Tiger not hitting any sort of chips outside of some little low chip runners. So, yeah, it's going to be a very different style golf this week to what most of them hit week in, week out, but can't wait for it. I think there's going to be some proper carnage, which is good.
PGA Tour's dropping some videos or people dropping the ball, and it's just, unless it's in the middle of the green, it's just sliding off. So putting will be to the fore for sure. Let's have a look at odds courtesy of TopSport outright winner market, and then we'll go through the top 10 chances and make a case for and against them. Scottie Scheffler's $4.20 favourite here, in from $4.40 overnight. $10 Xander Schauffele, my mate. Meow, $10. Rory McIlroy, $12. Collin Morikawa is $17. Bryson DeChambeau, $21. Viktor Hovland, $21. Ludvig Aberg, $22. Brooks Koepka, $23. And then you got $41 for Tommy Fleetwood and Matsuyama. Matty Fitzpatrick's in the mix there as well, with Thigala rounding out the top of the market. Let's go to the number one in the world at the moment, Scottie Scheffler. Swiping out a cop is probably his biggest hurdle for success here. But wow, the guy's on fire. You've already said it, Dogga. He's setting prize money records. Looks ready to rumble again here. Scotty. He's just absolutely coasting. Baby or no baby, it doesn't matter.
No, look, I know the listeners don't like us tipping favourites, and I'm going to not tip Scotty because there's no fun in it. But he's going to win. Like everything that I look at says he wins and wins well. I mean, if we're looking at someone who's hitting their irons well, no one's better than him. I'm not going to tip him. He's $4. I won't bet him. I'd rather have some fun and play around him. I definitely won't be laying him. But it'll probably be a lighter week on the punt more than anything else. But yeah, if anyone's having a look at this tournament and doesn't have him on top, I'd be very surprised. And Toprope's about to say the opposite. We'll see how we go.
Nick Tedeschi?
No, I'm fully with Dogga here in terms of clearly on top for me, not going to back in. It's boring as hell backing a $4 shot in a major. We don't need to run through all the stats, but yeah, he in kind of the 8 key categories I've got, he's on top in 5 and top 8 in the other 3. So sorry, top 6 now 3. Looking at kind of correlation courses, he was second in the PGA Championship at Oak Hill. Sawgrass is not good as one. He won the last 2 there, won the API this year. So clearly on top. 5 things I kind of look for around it is, are you a top player in the world? If you had a top 10 in the US Open, are you kind of playing your best to 8 US Open, top 10 in major this year, top 10 yes, ticks everything. So the only case I can kind of make against him is the 3 wins at Pinehurst have all been pretty rough in the betting, 50 to 1 or longer. It can throw the hard and fast conditions kind of really bring everyone back to the field. That's a pretty flimsy case to be making against him. It's about as good a case as hoping a Louisville police may arrest him heading into the second round at the PGA. But Scheffler is like his last 8 tournaments, he's won 5, he's been run up in 2, and in that time he's had a kid and been arrested. So pretty big time for Scotty and his thriving. So yeah, you can't make a case against him. I think most of my betting will be around the kind of top 5s and top 10s, but Scheffler is, I'm not going to say bomb-proof, but he's about as close to it as you're going to get.
Outstanding. All right, so we can't talk you out of that. If you like Scottie Scheffler, pull the trigger and bet with confidence there. Xander Schauffele obviously hit a purple patch, finally broke the duck. The floodgate's going to open for this. He's a panther now, he's not a cat.
The honest answer is, if I'm going to have a bet of anyone at the top of the board, he's the one I'm backing because...
Oh, dear.
I know. I want to see if he can get dressed up again. But again, it's similar to Scotty. Just the numbers stack up really, really well for him. He's playing exceptional golf. His putter's probably better than Scotty, like Toprope said. If you're looking for those little final things that can split players out, a guy that's got a better putter on a course that's going to be lightning quick and like putting on glass, maybe you lean him. But I mean, he's had 7 starts in the US Open. No worse than 14th. He hasn't won, obviously, but 10th, 14th, 7th, 5th, 3rd, 6th, 5th. Like, it's absolute freak show form in US Opens. This will be a little bit different to a normal US Open. But yeah, I certainly will be having a look at his price as the week goes on, especially if people keep jumping into Scotty. Maybe his price moves, but I'll be very surprised.
You like him, Nick Tedeschi, and I'm not sure if it's to needle me or you're hell-bent on trying to prove me wrong again. I'm not sure. What's the case for?
A little Colorado, a little Colorado. No, I've got Xander as my top player. He's I'll be back at the top of the board. The three most important stats for me this week I'm looking at bogey avoidance, total driving, and scrambling. Scheffler leads bogey avoidance 1v2, but Schauffele's ahead of Scheffler 5v6 in total driving and 2v4 in scrambling. So he's obviously in great form. I don't know whether that last win will kind of give him the confidence just to go and get over the line. I think, if you're in a dogfight with Scottie Scheffler, I know he'd rather bet on, to get it done. But the numbers to have well Xander is twice the price. I think you could probably get $13 or $14 out there. I'm happy with Xander this week. He's going to be my number one player.
Outstanding. Yeah, once the weight of the world's off people's shoulders, anything can happen. So if he went back to back, wouldn't shock me. But I know if he's odds on coming into the last round, and he's got a couple of guys like Bryce and Scottie Scheffler chasing him, and they're only within one or two. I did do a little bit of homework here, and if you're running sort of second and third, and you're within a shot or two, the wheels can come off. And again, yes, he did get the win in the PGA Championship, but that last putt, if you go and have a look at that replay, it was still shaky as all hell. So you don't want him in a close one, but I can see him winning again. Rory McIlroy, is he going to be thinking more with his big head or his little head here? He's been a bit of an ATM, a reverse ATM. If you've been laying and taking him on in all these majors, you've been filling in recent times. Dogga, do you like him?
I don't dislike him, but I won't be backing him. He rates probably about 5th or 6th on my sheet. But realistically for me, the biggest weapon he has isn't that valuable here. Like, he's a guy that can hit it much further and probably straighter than everyone else. And I don't know that distance is going to be really key this week. So that's probably the only thing I've got against him. Other than that, everything else is doing pretty well. Hasn't won a major in a long time. That also goes against him as well. So I don't mind if people like him. I can understand it, but yeah, I won't be backing him this week.
Not for you, Nick Tedeschi?
No, never for me. 5 straight top 10s in the US Open. So need to be respected enough, but certainly bogey avoidance this year doesn't rank from the top 15 scrambling. Yeah, but his strengths downplayed here. His weaknesses are kind of exacerbated, and the biggest concern for me is he really hasn't shown up at either major this year. So, I at the price I couldn't be taking anything less than 25 to 1, and there's no way 25 to 1's going to be offered, so late on that.
Collin Morikawa has been Mr. Consistent, but just can't close out. Sort of has lacked his killer punch. Thoughts, Dogga?
Yeah, look, he's certainly one that's at the top of my sheet. He's in probably my top couple of picks just behind Xander, realistically, for people I'd actually bet on. He's playing good golf. He's very similar to Scottie, though. He just needs to get that putter working. When it's going, it's okay. And he's been pretty good of late. I mean, his last 3 starts in the US Open are 14th, 5th and 4th, so he obviously can play well, and then he's been playing well on tour. He's been top 5 his last 3 starts. So anyone who's got good form in big events, he's won 2 majors already. It wouldn't shock me to have a good week, and I think he's got the right tools this week to be right up the pointy end.
No, I'm kind of off him this week. I respect what Dogga says, and he has especially been one of mine, but really concerned about his ability to avoid trouble. He's kind of not been good at avoiding bogeys this year. Kind of driving hasn't been great. I know that it's all about distance, speed, total driving, and he hasn't been great around the greens. Kind of profiles well on paper in terms of where he's at in his career and how he kind of goes in majors and all that kind of thing. But at the price, I'm going to go. He normally shows up at Jack's place last week, and his chance didn't get it done. So happy to. Others prefer at the top of the board.
Victor Hovland made a really good run in the PGA Championship, but all too late. A little bit disappointing last week, but has the game to compete here for sure, Dogga.
He does, and he seems to have found a little bit of form the last few starts. The concern I'll always have with Victor until I see it week in, week out is the short game around the green. So anything that's got a wedge in hand, I'd actually be more confident if he came out today in the practice round and said, around the greens, I'm just going to pull the putter out. I'd be like, cool, mate. You're one of us, and I'd actually have more value in you this week. But they don't do that. They want to still pull the 60-degree out and a little skipper up there. And I don't know. I just think he only needs one bad chip, and I think he's mentally a little bit fragile there. So that's the only thing going against him. But yeah, like he's still playing bloody good golf. I mean, 15th last week and then 3rd at the PGA. So he's pretty tough to say he can't win. But if I'm looking for something that's against him, it's probably that short game.
He's just got the inner strength and belief to get over the line. He's tough. Nick Tedeschi?
Well, Martin Cameron that putted off the green on 8-stroke win last time they putted Pinehurst. So it'd be smart if one or two try to pull that stuff. No, I can't have a victory at all. A couple of things actually just were like, yeah, I love watching him play. But he, like Dogga said, his form around the green is questionable at best. I hate all the tinkering that's been going on, the coach changes, going back to coach. I hate when I read all that stuff about Brown and so on. And his numbers this year have just not been good enough. And he's been in contention for majors plenty of times and hasn't got over the line yet. So all those combined, can't have him at the price. He'd be close probably against Lay in those kind of continued under 21.
Bryson DeChambeau was threatening in the Masters, runner-up in the PGA Championship. He's knocking the door down. He's got the 3D printed irons that he uses, the Nutty Professor. He's starting, the media are all over this bloke. He's gone from the Miss Dr. Evil to one of probably the most loved players on the tour ever since he has gone all natural and lost his Hulk, I guess, figure. But what do you think of Bryson DeChambeau? I think he's a dangerous player, and I think he's right in the right mental head space to win and pull this off. And at 20-1, I think it's a great bet and might allow like a trading position later on. Yeah,
I mean, I won't be backing him this week. I quite liked him last start, probably more around the distance, and I'm just taking that out of play here for me anyway. His irons are still very, very good, so don't get me wrong. He can definitely show up, and like you said, Scoot, he's kind of a little bit like Brooks of old. He's learnt in the last 12 months to really show up in majors, which is great. And if you can do that, you can keep doing that. So it's something that it's a learned skill for him, and he's there. So I'm not against him, but won't be betting him this week.
Nick Tedeschi?
Yeah, this starts to be taken with a grain of salt. But he isn't really showing up. I've got one a little bit further on the board who kind of has a very similar style game than all behind it. His stats certainly show up a lot better than Bryson's. And yeah, he's checks and majors, but I think both. I know Augusta traditionally hasn't been that. Yeah, this is Bryson's go, but he's always wanted to perform well there. And obviously at the PGA Championship, of course, it was very well suited to him with that length there. So, not for me. Bryson, I think, been well and truly found in the market as well. So, if we were around a 40-1 point, like he had been kind of in the last few majors, I'd be considered, but at that can't quite, not for me.
Ludvig Aberg is the next golfer, $22.
Yeah. I think we talked about him early doors when he first came onto tour. Obviously, he was a superstar, and Toprope and I talked about you're just never going to catch a price on him, and we're just not going to catch it again. I mean, he's still coming up here $20 to $26. Yeah, won't be having him this week, but again, I feel like he's someone who'll probably chip up into that top 10, top 20, but I don't know that he can win.
Toprope?
Yeah, I actually like Aberg a lot this week. Agree completely about the price. It's not ideal at all where he's kind of slotting into the market right now, but 13 total driving, 8 in bogey avoidance, 3rd in scrambling, a lot of boxes there. The lack of experience is an issue. US Opens are so different to every other event, and this US Open is so different to every other US Open. Not every other US Open, but most of the US Opens we've seen recently is like LSS and Pebble. So I'll be having something on Aberg. He kind of ticks a lot of the form around some of those Florida courses. PGA National, he's done well as well. So, yeah, I'll be having something on it.
Brooks Koepka is the next in the market. Obviously likes Pinehurst, but he's a touch out of form for his standards, especially in the majors. He's pretty average in the Masters, and again, only sort of just got going late in the PGA Championship. Thoughts, Dogga?
Yeah, I mean, Brooks is like we said, he's someone that can always show up, and I wouldn't be shocked if he does again. But being a little bit out of form, not seeing that flash recently, I'll be leaving him alone. But again, he's a sort of player like we just talked about with Bryson that can just show up in these big events.
Too well found for you, Toprope?
Yeah, not betting him, but like fully respect him. He kind of has that. The US Open just lends itself to golfers who always just show up in US Opens, your Curtis Strangers, your League Jams, all those guys who just perform well at US Opens. He's obviously couldn't be better suited. He's an absolute freak when it comes to majors. He'd finish with a 7 under in the final round at Houston, but yeah, he's fallen the first 2 majors this year has been pretty disappointing, so I couldn't have it in the price. That price is reputation driven more than form driven, so can't have it at the price.
All right, there's a cluster of players here. I'm just going to read out probably the next 5, and if any of them tickle your fancy, you can make a case for. So Tommy Fleetwood, Matsuyama, Matt Fitzpatrick, Justin Thomas, Thegala, Cam Smith, Max Homer, all around the 40 to 51 range. You first, Dogga?
Yeah, the one of those that I don't mind this week, Hideki Matsuyama. He's a bit like Xander. He's a person that has been in the box of blokes that I just don't like betting for a very, very long time. Maybe he's going to help me out like Xander did last start, but I feel like he's just finding form. He's obviously 8th last week. He's played obviously great results in US Opens. He's first in strokes gained around the green this year, 13th in bogey avoidance. There's a lot of numbers that he comes up quite high. Probably rates about 8th in my data. So at that price, I'll definitely be having a look at Hideki.
Nick Tedeschi?
The one I'm relatively keen on is Cam Smith this week. He's got a great major record, finished top 10 in 7 of his last 16 majors. I love the fact that driving has been taken, kind of minimised somewhat this week. His lack of action on the tee obviously can cause plenty of issues, but I do think it kind of brings him back to the field with our leads living in putting average, ranks top 10 birdies, finished top 10 at Oak Hill last year, which thinks of a guy. Last putting on Bermuda as well, so and kind of reaching that peak element of his US Open form where he's kind of putty's played 8 US Open so far. He's got a top 10 here previously. He's top 10 in major this year. Something about Cam Smith this week, I'm pretty keen. Dog will know this better than I will, so I might throw to him on this one, but there does seem to be a little similarity between some of the Melbourne Sandbelt courses and Pinehurst more than maybe any other US Open course. Now, I do kind of fancy a few of the Australians this week that maybe I normally would steer clear of.
Thoughts, Dogga?
No, I agree. I think if you think about a Melbourne baked out summer, we get hard and fast. The greens at RM or Kingston Heath, they're like a pool table. When you're not just looking at how do I land this close to the hole and let it spin, because that ain't going to happen this week. It's going to take off like a flare once it hits the green. So it's a very different game to what they're used to. It's dart golf normally. These guys can make it sit down wherever they like. You think about Memorial last week, very similar. So a place where they're going to land it and they're going to need to land it short enough and then let it roll back and get back to where it needs to be. And if they've got pins on front, you really need that strategy in there, which is why those irons in are going to be super, super important this week.
All right, outstanding. So let's just summarise it here. Best roughy lay. I got you, Dogga. Scheffler, Xander, hardest to beat. Roughy, Matsuyama.
Yeah, outside of that, Morikawa's right up there for me. The two that I don't mind at a price. The other bloke, I've got a collection of blokes that I've just absolutely hated over time punting. Tony Finau seems to have found a little bit of form. So I don't mind him. He's at a good price. And for someone at absolute flyer bet who I'll be taking, I think he's about $5 or $6 for top 20s, Aaron Rai. Aaron Rai rates so high, and I can see Toprope nodding already.
I am all over Aaron Rai this week. So he was. I read the email just to go in and couldn't believe he had Aaron Rai. Well, I couldn't believe it, but Aaron Rai, he's iron, you go, but his iron game, everything except for the putting, has him right in the mix there.
That's it. I've got a collection of guys that if they can get the putter remotely going okay, they're going to be in the mix. And people will say with the really, really hard and fast greens, you need to be a good putter to win. But I feel like it evens out the field. Everyone's going to have an ordinary putting this week. So if you're a bad putter, maybe everyone's a bit closer together. Not sure. That's the only punt I'm taking. But Aaron Rai rates so far up in my numbers in every other stat that I'm looking at outside of putting. At $550 for a top 20, and I think he's trading about 400s on some of the markets. Yeah, you'd happily have a little bit each way on him.
Yeah, massive price. Nick Tedeschi, to summarise for you, so you got Xander, Scottie Scheffler, Ludvig Aberg, and then you got Cam Smith as a bit of a bolter there for you. What have I missed?
a few others I'll throw in there. We didn't discuss him, but John Rahm, I think, is going to a very bad price this week. He leads strokes handles at tee. He's second in birdies, 8th in putting average. So I think we can get up 34, 41 on him. I'll be around him. Dogga mentioned Finau before, somebody hates to bet who he's kind of coming into this week. I've got one of those myself, Jordan Spieth.
Oh, my God.
I despise betting on. But 4th putting average, 7th total driving, and he's about 81. I can definitely have a little nibble on him. Aaron Ryan, mentioned before, and another bolt, so you can get a 200 to 1 on him. Alex Noren from Sweden leads the tour in scrambling, 3rd in bogey avoidance, 15 greens in rag. Kind of game that can go well here. So don't think he's a real winning hope. He's a bit of a nonny, but I think in terms of like top 5, top 10, top 20s, you can get a bit of value around our time.
Jordan Spieth, I went in the trenches with him at Augusta, and after the last couple of performances that I've seen for him, I think him and Justin Thomas have swapped bodies. They've had a brain transplant. They're just mirroring each other's horror year the year before, so they're waxing and they're definitely using the wrong wax. Dogga, first round leader, you're usually pretty solid at these ones. Can you throw out a couple in the mix here?
Yeah, we got Xander last start, which was good. I think he was about 30s, which was good. And we'll have him in the top 5 again. He's around 20. So Xander, Collin Morikawa, two at the top end. And then sort of dropping back down to John Rahm, who I think can have a good start, assuming his legs come good after withdrawing last week at Liv. And then a couple of bolters in Ben Anna and Aaron Rye, who I think can go pretty well in round 1 as well.
Okay. Top rope, anything to add there?
First round leaders, though, we've got a few comps this year.
All right, let's get into the side action.
Best prop out there, I reckon, is top debutant. Ludvig Aberg, very short to 270, I think he's in the market, but this is not a strong field. Tom McKibben's their favourite, $13 kind of says that they're only superstars the very outside of Aberg. Top former champion, mentioned John Rahm earlier, 725 top former champion. I think is a nice play there. Top lefty, he's been off from that, Brian Harman, but Bob McIntyre, who's gone back home to Scotland and I dare say has been drinking for 2 weeks, was the favourite in this market, is now that's flipped around with Brian Harman in kind of his home area, has a game that should really suit Brian. And he would have seen more of Pinehurst than the whole other 3 lefties other than Phil Mickelson combined in his life. So, and I'm not sure lefty's playing anywhere well. That's starting to be competing in that one. A couple of nationalities. I love Corey Connor's iron game. I think top Canadian at about $3. I think he's a great bet. And top Korean Ben Yan, $4.50. So I love how he's seen the ball for tee. He's really his transformation over the last 2 or 3 years has been something else. So top Korean, $4.50. I kind of prefer him more than your Tom Kim. So Ben Yan there.
Outstanding stuff. All right, let's have a quick look at TopSport's big bets. The first one, this could be you, Top Rope. Early shopper here, $400 at $41. So that price must have been snapped up back in the Masters era where he was on fire there. So a little bit of nice sniping for Ludvig Aberg. Scottie Scheffler, this looks like a great price take in here, $1,100 at $5. That's a beauty. Viktor Hovland, $1,000 at $21. He's got the canasters to do it, but the boys are slightly against with that short game. And then let him cook himself, Minwoo Lee, $200 at $81. And the boys have said that it should suit Australian-style conditions. So hot, humid, and super fast greens could be the right recipe for success for Min Woo Lee. All right, I think that's time. I'm going to de-kit. I'm going to get this back off. I get out of this choker hold. But finally, yeah, well done, Xander Schauffele. Camel's off the back, Scooty's off your back, and could just open the floodgates. So I'll watch my mouth. I've got my foot in it last time, and the boys, I'm respecting what they're saying. They say he's in the mix, so I'm now a believer.
Love it.
Outstanding.
Outstanding. All right, we'll be back. Next time you'll see us will be for the European Open. So the British Open will be the next one that you see us. So fingers crossed we found you a winner this week. And hopefully it's a really competitive tournament. And we want some fierce action for all 4 days. We just don't want to tear away boring leaders. So hopefully Pinehurst delivers it and the greens are absolutely impossible and the cream will rise to the top. So I'm back off to my saucer and milk. And thanks for joining us at Little Birdie TV. See you guys.